Imagine ruling a nation for over half a century, then deciding it's time to step down. This is not a plot from a historical drama. It's the real-life story of Denmark's Queen Margrethe II. After an astonishing 50 years on the throne, she made the groundbreaking announcement of her abdication in 2024. But why? What lies behind this royal shakeup? In this video, we'll dive deep into the secrets of the Danish royal family's history, uncover the reasons behind Queen Margrethe's unprecedented decision, and give you a sneak peek into the future under her successor. Stay tuned as we unravel the mystery behind Denmark's royal shift. However, before divulging her abdication reason, it's necessary to understand the background of the Danish royal family. You'll be amazed to know the lineage of the Danish royal family. It all started more than 1,200 years ago, when it was under the rule of King Gudfred, when the kingdom included all the major provinces of medieval Denmark in 804. However, it was Viking kings Harald Bluetooth and Gorm the Old who founded the unified kingdom of Denmark in the 10th century, which has been extended into today's Denmark, so you can say that the monarchy is descended from the Vikings. 600 years later, in 1660 to 1661, absolutism was introduced in Denmark. It means the elective monarchy was replaced by inherited monarchy. In Lex Regia of 1665, the succession principle was laid down, meaning only the firstborn male can become king. It also regulated the royal house's domestic relations in other ways. Interestingly, it was during that time it became hereditary, and this rule continued for years. But 200 years later, in 1849, it became a constitutional monarchy. Although it was elective in practice, the choice was generally limited to the eldest son of the reigning monarch. However, with the introduction of democratic constitution on the 5th of June in 1849, the monarchy's status changed from absolute to constitutional. And 100 years later, the Act of Succession of the 27th of March 1953 allowed for the possibility of female monarch. That is what enabled Her Majesty, the Queen, to accede to the throne in 1972. And recently, in 2009, the Act of Succession was changed again so that the eldest child can succeed to the throne regardless of their gender. This is a brief history of Danish royal family. In today's Denmark, the royal family mainly serves a ceremonial purpose. It welcomes different heads of the states and visits Greenland and the Faroe Islands. It promotes Danish products and Danish businesses and businessmen. It also represents Denmark and Danish values in Denmark and abroad. Officially, the Danish royal family has been the executive authority over the Danish government. But in practice, the Queen, now the new king, appoints the new government after a national election and approves new laws passed in the Danish parliament, but never gets involved in state affairs. The monarchy reigns, but does not rule. It is argued that Queen Margrethe is the most successful and popular monarch in modern Denmark. But the question is, why is that? To answer that, we will shed some light about Queen Margrethe II. The beloved Queen of Denmark, Margrethe II, was born on April 16, 1940, and her reign began in 1972 after her father passed away. From that moment, she represented Denmark with grace, wisdom, and determination, earning the respect and admiration of her citizens. But Margrethe II was more than just a monarch. She was also a talented artist, a scholar, and a passionate advocate for the law. She studied a variety of subjects at prestigious universities in Copenhagen, Aarhus, Cambridge, the London School of Economics, and the Sorbonne in Paris. She was a gifted illustrator who contributed to J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings under the pseudonym Ingolid Grathmer. She was also skilled in embroidery, painting, church textiles, and Christmas seals. Despite her many talents, Margrethe II's greatest strength was her ability to connect with people. When her father died, she demonstrated her composure and empathy by addressing the public from the balcony at Christiansborg in front of thousands of people. She honored her father's memory and shared her deep sadness, saying, "My beloved father, our king, is dead, and a great sorrow has befallen us all. But the greatest grief is for my mother." Margrethe II continued to serve Denmark with grace, diligence, and humility for over 50 years, making her the second longest-serving monarch in Danish history. And the result of her wisdom is, today, the Danish monarchy has broad public support. However, this has not always been the case. When Margrethe II became queen in 1972, only 42% of Danes were in favor of keeping the monarchy. It is during her years the support for monarchy has increased among the Danes. Today, 85.4% of Danes support the monarchy to a high degree or some degree. This makes the Danish monarchy among the most popular in Europe. But even the greatest monarchs must step down eventually. In 2024, Margrethe II abdicated from her throne, leaving behind a legacy of compassion, wisdom, and service. What prompted her decision? We'll find out next. The Queen, Europe's longest reigning living monarch, announced during her New Year's speech that she would step down from the throne on the 14th of January 2024, which is also the anniversary day of her own ascension to the throne in 1972 at the age of 31 after the death of her father. Margrethe II, who is 83 now, said in her speech that the back surgery she underwent in early 2023 led her to think about her future as a queen and when to pass on the responsibilities of the crown to her son. In her speech, she said that it is the right time.
Jeg har besluttet, at det nu, der er det rigtige tidspunkt. Den 14. januar 2024, 52 år efter at jeg efterfulgte min elskede far, vil jeg træde tilbage som Danmarks dronning.
So her abdication news was described as a surprise and shock, as many people expected her to remain on the throne until her death. Danish newspapers hailed her for her 52 years of service as a queen, with the broadsheet Weekendavisen describing her speech as personal and perfectly balanced, with no drama, no unnecessary pathos, an abdication that can only take place in Denmark. A clip of her speech became viral, which was viewed over 300,000 times online. A lot of Danes have said that the entire of Denmark is crying. The surprise news of her stepping down from the throne made their mood somber, and one young woman even burst into tears. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen also paid her tribute to the Queen in a statement, offering a heartfelt thank you to Her Majesty the Queen for her lifelong dedication and tireless effort for the kingdom. The Prime Minister also considers the Queen as the epitome of Denmark. She added that, throughout the years, the Queen put words and feelings into who we are as a people, as a nation. The royal family said that she would be the first Danish sovereign to step down in USA and Denmark. A few days later, thousands lined the streets of Copenhagen in freezing temperatures to see Queen Margrethe as she was traveling from Amalienborg Palace to Christiansborg Palace to attend New Year's reception in the Danish Royal House's gold coach. She waved her hands from the window in what was expected to be her last public event before her historic abdication on January 14th. Seeing so much of a crowd, the Danish media is hopeful that the new king will also be popular like his mother, as Denmark is ready for their new king. We think we should discuss him next. Following her abdication, Margrethe's son, King Frederik X, has ascended the throne. As laid down in the Act of Succession 2009, in which the firstborn child of the royal family becomes the monarch, Frederik X gets the responsibilities of serving the nation. He has been the Crown Prince of Denmark since the age of 3. He has been extremely popular, and people think that the Queen has served him the monarchy on a silver platter. Many are thinking that he will be a different kind of king, who has an interest in sports. Though he is a down-to-earth person, his main challenge might be his way with words. Born in 1968, Frederik Andre Henrik Christian is the first child of Margrethe and her late husband Prince Henrik, who died in 2018. He was a very shy young royal, and growing up in the public eye was not easy for him. He received his primary education at Krebsskole, an elite private school in Copenhagen. He later went to a boarding school in Normandy, France. He was uncomfortable with the media attention that he received and also anxious about his destiny as a monarch. By the early 1990s, many saw him as a party prince who has a liking for fast cars. However, his time at Aarhus University helped him to regain his reputation, and in 1995, he became the first Danish royal to gain a master's degree. His political science studies included a year abroad, and that too at Harvard in the US. He earned his diplomatic stripes serving at Denmark's UN mission. He was later posted to Paris for a year as the first secretary of the Danish embassy in 1998. He speaks fluent French, English, and German. On the 14th of January, the Queen, the Crown Prince, and Prince Christian participated together with the government and the Council of Secretary in the Council of State. The succession of throne took place during the Council of State's meeting at the moment when the Queen signed a declaration of her abdication. After signing the declaration document, the Queen rose and gestured to Frederik to take her seat, and was also heard saying, "God save the King," before leaving the room. Later, the king and queen hold a levee for specially invited persons. Then, His Majesty King Frederik X steps out on the balcony of Christiansborg Palace, after which the Prime Minister proclaims his ascension to the throne. Following that, the king speaks and concludes with the motto. After the proclamation, the royal standard was lowered at Christian IX's palace and re-raised at Frederik VIII's palace Amalienborg. Then the king and queen rode in a carriage, escorted by the Guard Hussar Regiment's mounted squadron. In a speech addressing thousands assembled below the balcony of Christiansborg Palace, Frederik praised his mother's legacy and said he hopes to become a king of tomorrow. He added, his mother has served Denmark for 52 years. He also said that through half a century, she has followed the times with our common heritage as a starting point. He thinks she will always be remembered as a monarch beyond the ordinary. Only a few have managed to be at one like his mother with her kingdom. A huge and admiring crowd gathered in Copenhagen to witness the history that proves that the ordinary Danes have accepted their new king. Over 100,000 tuned in to watch the handover. Around 1 million people gathered in and around the palace quadrant. Share your favorite part in the comments section. Subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to get regular updates.